happens to call Washington, if you spend more than 10% of your time trying to influence the outcome of legislation in Washington, you could be considered a lobbyist, and the federal government could require you, will require you to report your existence, the names of yourself and anybody else in your organization, how much time you're spending trying to influence legislation. And if you fail to report this information to them and they find out about it, you could be subject to $200,000 fines for not reporting it. This is anti-American and unconstitutional, if you ask me, because it's constitutional for the United States to have, citizens to have an opportunity to petition their government to redress grievances and so forth. Now they want you to register. They want you to report who you are, who you're working with, how much money you're spending on this if you contact anybody in Washington. So if you sit out there and you happen to call a member of Congress and you spend over 10% of your time doing this kind of thing, you might have to register as a lobbyist. I want to show you a portion of the debate in the House today on this bill. First, here's the clip.
Let me just say, if you're going to be against this bill, stand on the floor and say you're against it because you want to keep on getting free meals and free dinners and you want to keep playing free golf. But don't hide behind the skirts of legitimate public interest organizations and churches. They're for the bill. This doesn't hurt them. It's the same language we've had in it for 18 months. If you were concerned about it, where have you been the last 18 months? I yield to the gentleman.
Thank you, gentlemen, for yielding. The Christian Coalition, amongst others, does oppose it. But let me ask the gentleman, in which bill was the grassroots gag that the gentleman now brings to the floor in this particular legislation?
There is no grassroots gag, Mr. Walker. And I would urge you to use to the truth as you talk about this bill, because it's the same language that passed the House back in November. We haven't changed it at all. If you were concerned about it, Mr. Walker, where have you been the last 18 months? I'll yield back my time.
Oh, the gentleman won't yield further?
I'll yield further.
Well, the point is, under which of the bills was the grassroots gag originally brought in that now allows a government bureaucrat to determine free exercise of religion? I'm not going to give you time to allow you to say that. There is no grassroots gag. You want to keep playing free golf? Admit it. I don't play golf. Maybe the gentleman does.
Now, I want to show you the next clip is Eric Fingerhut. He is a Democrat from Ohio. And I want you to decide. This is being called a grassroots gag because the whole purpose of this is that looming $200,000 fine, or the notion that the government's going to come knock on your door and demand to know who you are, who your friends are, and what are you spending, and how much time are you spending. The idea is that if you think the government's coming and there's a $200,000 fine for not reporting your activity, you'll just kind of go away and shut up. And that's what this is about. They're trying to shut up people who are expressing their opinion to Congress because they're fed up with you. They're fed up with hearing from you, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting in the way. And if you don't think there is a gag rule or a grassroots gag rule, you listen to Eric Fingerhut here from Ohio explain what this bill is, and you see if he's not talking about you here.
So what this bill does is it does two things that are really very significant, but also, I think, very straightforward, despite all of the debate that we're going to hear. The first thing is it says that everyone who is engaged as a profession in the business of trying to influence the course of legislation in the Congress or in the executive branch ought to register with the government so that the public and the media can have access to that information, number one.
Everyone.
Number two, they ought to report for the public information, for the media information, that which they are spending to influence the course of activities of legislation in the Congress and of legislation in the federal government. And yes, that includes if they are using the sophisticated network of phone banks and whatever else it is to try and generate so-called grassroots activity.
That's Eric Fingerhut, a Democrat from Ohio. I want to read to you now a paragraph from a letter that Newt Gingrich sent to all Republican members, advising them of the elements of this legislation. This is point number 3. It says the bill would require that any organization attempting to influence federal decisions with the help of a grassroots operation would have to reveal the specific names, including volunteers, addresses, and principal places of business retained in conducting that grassroots lobbying. Some people have even called this hush-rush, too, because it is theorized that if you listen to me or watch this show or listen to any talk show host, and as a result of hearing what you hear are motivated to call Washington, that we could all be considered lobbyists, or you could be, and you'd have to report this. It's an effort to try to get people to shut up out of fear. Family Research Council sent out a letter, and I want to read this paragraph to you from it. The bill would create the Office of Lobbying Registration, and it would be accountable directly to the Office of the President. which obviously raises the questions of possible political repercussions to those groups and or individuals who work on issues in opposition to those of the president. So we got a brand new bureaucracy created here that reports to the president on who's lobbying, what they're saying, how much they're spending, and how much time they're spending. And this, some people think, is the result of Mrs. Clinton being booed off stages during the Health Security Express bus tour and not liking it and being upset about it. They don't like hearing from you folks, and this thing passed. You want to see the final vote? Here's the final vote in the U.S. House of Representatives this afternoon, 306 to 112. Note the silence in the studio. The chilling effect can already be felt. We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Okay, we're talking life insurance. Boring.
I don't like to talk about it.
Lighten up.
My husband won't take time to buy it.
Then buy it for him.
Well, yeah, I bought it for my husband over the phone.
You can do that?
American Republic Insurance deals direct. Privately, confidentially.
You dealt direct?
Yeah, I told him my age and what I needed. I got $400,000 coverage for only $33 a month.
Yeah, right.
And 11 cents.
Aha! And 11 cents. Next.
I'm a single parent. For $1 a day, I got over $300,000, and it's guaranteed for 10 years.
$1 a day?
American Republic. Term life protection. Make the call. Tell us what you want.
I thought you said this was boring.
So I was wrong. Next.
Receive a personalized quote and full information. No cost, no obligation. Deal direct. Don't pay double what you need to for life insurance. Call now. 901-LIFE.
Tonight on Last Call, the truth about Elvis.
We know what the real stories are. This is a report released today about how Elvis actually died.
And how did I die?
The other Elvis.
New York cops put behind bars.
14 more cops arrested in Harlem for this new drug scandal.
If the Marines can train the police in Haiti, they ought to come back and train the police in New York City.
Today's hottest stories hit the cool of the night on Last Call tonight.
Hi, I'm Bob Neff with Ford Grove's Ford Lincoln Mercury. Just announced, 2.9 for up to 48 months of $750 cash back on America's best-selling cars, the Ford Taurus and Mercury Sable. Or save up to $4,000 on all remaining Ford full-size pickups. That's right, save $4,000. Everything is clearance price during the Ford Grove's factory-authorized clearance sale. This is for a limited time, so hurry for your best selection. Now at Ford Grove's, the value store. Serving the community for over 75 years, come see why.
Nice to see you. Rush Limbaugh, the television show. Times Mirror surveyed 3,800 adults back in July. And the result of the survey, among many other things, was a new spectrum of political alignment. Gone are, according to Times Mirror, and this is just a fun little thing to look at, gone are Republican, Democrat, Liberal, Conservative as the basic two ways to identify political thinking in this country. There are now about 10 different categories that people fall into, and they each have a hero. And I want to go through and tell you what these categories are and who they are, who their hero is. First up is the partisan poor. They represent 7% of adults in America. 89% are Democrats, and their hero is Bill Clinton. This is a disadvantaged group. 4 out of 10 are non-white, older and blue-collar, who've been targets of social programs, and they are the group that's most loyal to the president. Now, the New Dealers, all of these make up the not-so-left segment, according to Times Mirror. The New Dealers, 7% of adults, 82% Democrats. Hero, Jimmy Carter. This is the oldest group. They once a key part of FDR's New Deal coalition, and they disapprove of Clinton. The New Democrats, now you'd think this would be Clinton's group, but it's not. 10% of adults identify themselves as New Democrats. 62% are Democrats, and their hero is Hillary Clinton. This group, the New Democrats, mostly female, middle class, moderates. They voted for Bush in '88 and Clinton in '92, and they are also cool to Clinton as president. The next group in the not-so-left is the seculars. They are 9% of adults, 47% are Democrats, and their hero is Hillary Clinton. They're the youngest group. They are the only group to embrace the liberal label. They're the only ones who say that they are liberal proudly. Now the center, the Times Mirror people call it the detached center. First, the embittered The angry 7% of adults, 39% are independents. They are poor, a rural group, many black women and men with ties to Democrats. Their hero is John F. Kennedy. The bystanders, these are 8% of adults, 52% are independents. They're Asians, Hispanics, and others who choose not to participate in the political system. Their hero is nobody. The detached center has one more group, the new economy independents. 18% of adults, that's tied for the largest percentage of adults in all of these groups. 52% are independent, mostly female, of all races, not anchored to any particular party, and they are the important swing voters according to Times Mirror. Their hero is Al Gore. Oh. When we come back, we'll look at the right, which they call here the divided right. There are four. Well, actually, there's three groups of the divided right. We'll tell you about them and who their heroes are right after this, so don't go away.
It was an exciting time, a time when music mattered and anything was possible. Hi, I'm Michael Stanley. From the late 50s through the 1970s, folk, pop, and rock music came together to create classic songs that united an entire generation. And now they're all here on Changing Times. 40 unforgettable hits featuring The Byrds,
Take to the highway, won't you lend me your name? Good morning, America, how are you?
This collection is not sold in stores.
So get Changing Times. It's the soundtrack of America.
To order, call the number on your screen or send check or money order. 2 CDs, $26.99. 2 long play cassettes, $19.99. Rush delivery available. Do it now.
Your time is running out to get low 2.9% financing or $750 cash back on Ford Taurus. This is the real deal. 2.9 financing or $750 cash back on America's #1 selling car. It's your last chance to get the lowest finance rate of the year or cash back on the best-selling Ford Taurus. You must act now while you still have time and while selection is best, because low 2.9 financing or $750 cash back on Ford Taurus ends October 3rd. Only from your local Ford dealer.
70% off. 70% off. That's how much you'll save during the special 2-week wild wallpaper sale. You buy direct from Cape Color World and get 70% off all in-stock wallpaper. Did you say selection? Cape Color World has it with over 500 patterns in stock. Don't wait. Now through Saturday, October 8th only, 70% off all in-stock wallpaper at Cape Color World.
We really are Cape's wall covering specialists.
Cape Color World, you've got the look of satisfaction.
Is TV reception a losing battle? Cable TV costing you too much for things you don't want with poor service? Go direct to the source for movies, sports, news, and more with your own Cable Direct satellite TV system from Armstrong Communications. Choose from hundreds of channels. Pay only for the ones you want. Who needs the hassle? Call Armstrong Communications right now at 1-800-SUPER-TV. Systems starting as low as $39.95 a month. Call 1-800-SUPER-TV.
Hi, welcome back. We now continue the Times Mirror survey, 3,800 adults last July. New political spectrum. Time now to look at the right, which Times Mirror calls the divided right. 3 categories. Number 1, the libertarians. 4% of adults say they are libertarian. 54% are Republican. They are mostly male, Republican-leaning, turned off by the religious right. Many of them like Perot. Their hero is Colin Powell. Wow, that's nothing but a... The moralists, 18% of adults, 65% are Republican. The fastest growing group. They have doubled since 1987 as cultural conservatives decamp the Democratic Party. They are religious, militaristic. Their hero is Ronald Reagan. Finally, the audience is responding. Okay. One other group, the enterprisers. 10% are